I love that moment between the 30-second countdown and me clicking the button. There's always like at least 10 frames of me going, how you doing? We're streaming. I don't know why we're streaming fantasy football, but we are. Does my camera zoom in whenever I'm not around? Like, it's like we really have to get a tighter angle. I don't know. Anyway, pretty simple premise. Sorry, I'm reading Twitter. To the stream today, I just thought I'd finalize my wide receiver ranks because I'm kind of done fighting about it. To be honest, I mean, I'm not done fighting about it. I'm done forming the opinions I'm going to be fighting. New information is good. I'll continue to listen to other people, but I think I know what I think. If you know what I mean? So, yeah, I figured that could be today because I've got to get that done. Got to start taking players I haven't quite reviewed yet off my list. I got a bunch. I got 2 left at tight end. I got like 7, 8 at wide receiver and about the same at running back left. And I still won't find James Robinson. So, that's fun. But yeah, anyone who doesn't know, I tried for my own benefit last few years. I rank pre-draft and then I rank post-draft. I still do create like rookie boards, but I'm never quite certain on the idea behind them. Like, how would I draft every player if I had every pick? Well, it wouldn't matter because I have every pick. And I get confused. But I do rank pre-draft and I rank post-draft, and I just set those aside. I mean, obviously, things are going to change as new news comes out, as NFL stats happen, as, Chase Claypool is actually good, apparently. Who knew? Not me. Then things change. But I want to be able to go back and look at what I thought about those players before I knew anything else, because I like pain. And also, I find it the only way to really get any better is to see the mistakes you make commonly. Maybe I am making a regular mistake. How do I know if I change them so they look, better or more accurate to how I felt? And so I've been doing this a while, and I've got a Patreon sheet, but they kept getting put in like different sheets that I'd upload every off season and share with people. And frankly, I can't find all of them. So what I did last week before, is I added them to my ranks sheet, which I maintain and upload and update for Patreons. And I just thought that'd be a good place to keep track of them. That means I've definitely lost all my rookie boards, but like I've got my pre-draft ranks and I list what kind of rank they are and the exact date that like I did that rank and never went back to it. Yeah, I can go back from past draft classes and see how I adjusted to the draft, how I didn't have the players right. Because in my database, I, again, pinned to the whatever it is you're watching me on or whatever tweet it is you're angrily telling me why I'm wrong about, it's my pin tweet. I insist, like, that's fluid. We change, we evolve. I change my models. I look at different stats as we get better at this thing called life. And so, like, that's always going to be different. Looking at my model and what it says about the 2014 class right now, like, that's not what it said at the time because I didn't have half the things in there. So I need something that I can, fact check myself, like, cause myself a little pain that hopefully will be helpful. And so, yeah, and it's just time. It's actually 2 weeks, obviously, before the actual draft, which is a little early. Usually I give myself like till the day before, to be honest, to finish my pre-draft ranks. But I'm behind and I kind of need to motivate myself. And so these are my current ranks for rookies. And I'll zoom in and stuff, don't worry. And we'll talk about it. Okay, you can tell me why I'm wrong and maybe even change my mind, because ranks are different than a model and they're different than everything else. Like, I'm willing to be changed. It rarely happens, but I am. And so, yeah, let's discuss it a little bit. And instead of doing all play, because I haven't finished all positions yet, I haven't even finished looking at all wide receivers, but I'm pretty sure I'm done formulating opinions on a lot of them, and we could finalize at least a good chunk of them. And I thought that would be a fun live stream. I got a podcast to do later. Someone asked me on, and yeah, I got to do that at 10, so we have a nice ceiling to the stream as well, so I can't just sit here for 4 hours, the last 2 hours all by myself, obviously, because no one likes me, which is fine and true and accurate. But Anyway, so yeah, I just thought it'd be a fun way to go. I also create tiers, and I'm tracking the tiers too, because I think that's as close as I can come to like a rookie board kind of a system with this tracking. So yeah, I'm tracking the tiers I had them in. I got a lot right, but I'm really here for the ones I get wrong. Like I'm doing YouTube videos about all the players I got wrong one way or the other, or in some way, and what I might have missed, what I can learn, and hopefully this kind of thing will help. So that's the plan. How are you all doing? Because hey, 15 people, it's high for me. It's normally just me, my 6 friends, and Iris, my daughter, watches these as well. Hi, Iris. Yeah, there. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Might sound like a dumb question, but how do you go about forming your opinion on guys other than looking at their numbers? Don't. No, well, and I'm not plugging here. Like, you cannot believe, like, I think I lose money by the stuff. Like, I'm not asking you to give me views or whatever, but what I'm doing this off season is literally recording as I formulate my initial opinion based on their numbers. And obviously there's a lot more digging to do, and I learn a lot for the draft because I don't have contacts and I don't get to interview these players. And so I learn stuff as I pick up information from other people. So really, it's especially pre-draft, it's twofold. It's what I think of their numbers compared to past prospects and past examples and past pain. And then I consume as much information as I can in that second tier. We'll see some of that. Like, frankly, we have a Terence Marshall problem. Everything I think about the player is exactly the opposite of everyone I respect in the analytics community. Like almost everyone that I like, that I think is smart and does this and probably does it better than me. Does it better than me. Be humble, Pete. Jeez. Like him. And I'm like, I feel differently. So, like, what do I do with that? I don't know. Let's rank it and find out. I don't know how I weight the fact that everything in the second category is, yeah, go get him. And everything in the first category for me, based on what I look, is like, don't do it. Don't do that. So, it's people who are more better nerds, right? They can create a model and trust the model because they know a smart guy made it. My models are created by me, an idiot, and so I insist on reading, looking through the production, looking for like things that might be boosting it that aren't true, and listening to other opinions and using some sort of internal calculation, which we're going to go through right now, a little bit at least, of what I think of a player, how the order I would want them, draft them. If I had to draft a wide receiver with the next pick, who's the next one? And to me, that's what ranks. That's what I'm going to try to do right now. Also, I'm adding this notes section, so patrons have been able to read my live notes, which means they have been struggling through a lot of pain, because anyone who's on my Twitter knows I need like a constant editor, and I don't have one. So, but yeah, for what it's worth, I've been writing down my thoughts as I looked deeper, and some obviously I've looked at closer because there were more things I was uncertain about, or more context that I wanted or looked at least. And this is ongoing, but we're going to try and finalize at least, what should we say? The top 12 wide receivers, top 15? I don't know. And if I learn next week that like freaking Devonte Smith is actually 6'9", and it was a mistake all this time, then I'm just gonna be stuck with it if we stick it in that what did I call it? Ranks receipts. Okay, it's a cool receipt, so I guess it's on the internet technically, so it can't be changed. And again, like anyone, like, this is my way of trying to create what would you call some kind of accountability, because I think that's important to my process. Like, that's honestly partly how I learn and how I get better. But like, anyone who wants to say, well, I can't trust, no, you can't. I mean, it's just a thing on the internet. Obviously I can edit it. All I can do is tell you I don't. And maybe we could link this video so you could see if I change at least the ranks we get done tonight, and then you'd be like, oh, look, they're the same, and that provides some proof. Or you could go back and look at any of my articles or tweets, I guess, if you really wanted to receipt me. But yeah, so yeah, there's that. You're a beast. Yeah, sorry, I forgot my hat. I really need a haircut. I did kind of trim up the old neck beard, knowing I was going to do this today. So, I'm trying to be presentable, but thanks for pointing it out. All right, let's shrink this bit. What is the date now? All right, it's the 19th, so let's stick with that for now. The weird part of this is there's so many players that I don't have any questions about. And I can't do an individual, I don't want to do, so I'm not gonna, it's my stream, an individual breakdown of every player. But, like, Ja'Marr Chase is my number one in this class, and he's in the first tier, and I have no problems with that. Like, I have found nothing to unseat him from the wide receiver one chair this year, which is scary, because if you dig back through DLS, and that's with consensus, like, no one disagrees. The one thing you can note about DLF ADP is that the wide receiver one, like N'Keal Harry, Corey Davis, like there's a lot of misses in there compared to running back one at least. And so that's scary. But the only thing I could find to even be remotely scared about, where is he? With Chase, is that we do only have that one season. Like obviously he played 2 years, and it's not that I mind or I have a problem with him sitting out last year. It's just this is what we have to work with. And like his age 19 season was great. His age 18 season was fine. It was good. But like you don't rank a player wide receiver one because he had like 10% of the team's receiving yards at 18. It's his second year it really makes him stand out. But that also means without that third season to add in greater sample size to see the variance, potential, if you like it could have gotten worse. It could have fallen below Devonte Smith or Elijah Moore at some point. But for right now, like I got no questions. He's coming from the right conference and the right team. He was incredibly efficient compared to players on that team in that conference. And most importantly for wide receiver, he compares favorably to past prospects that go to the NFL and are good. So that says age because that's the adjustment itself, but you could also just call it hits. Like, he looks really good. I like him. So Ja'Marr Chase is number one. I don't think any of you disagree with that, but let me know, I guess. And yeah, like that's it. That's the rank. Now the interesting thing is the first tier. Like Bateman's in there for me. I mean, he just did nothing. The only problem I have with Bateman is draft capital, and that's a thing that I will know after the draft. And as someone asked me on a podcast, there is no place in the NFL draft that Rashad Bateman could be drafted that would make me not interested in him. But I will pay whatever price I have to pay because it's Dynasty, basically, and that's why. If he's going 101, I want to play the 101 for him. If he's going in the second round, then I'll pay a late first, I guess, because I want to make sure I get him. If I'm going for him in that particular, with that particular team, because obviously it's team dependent. But yeah, I mean, I got no qualms about Bateman outside of what his actual price is going to be in rookie drafts. Now, I actually expect him to fall to a day 2 pick at least. Just based on where he's coming from. But that doesn't change, like, again, 2 components to pre-draft ranks, and the one is how good is their production, and Rashad Bateman's is perfect, and I haven't found anyone that disagrees with how good he is. Like, there's no strong Rashad Bateman can't play takes out there, not that I respect at least, and so, yeah, he's in the first tier. And one of these guys is going to be my Jalen Reagor. I really don't understand why he isn't good so far, but there you go. Third guy in the tier right now is Rondo Moore. I do rank him. I'm ranking him under Bateman because he's coming and Chase, just because he has the best year in this class. And, you know, everyone wants to talk about his athleticism, but his year 1 is the best production year of anyone in this class. Anyone. Once you consider the age he was playing at. But I didn't get, again, it's like the Chase problem. I didn't get to see his age 19 and his age 20 season because of injuries and then because of a global pandemic. And so that's a concern. But like, again, I don't find anyone that disagrees that Rondo Moore is good. Did I make any other notes? I didn't find anything. No, I love Rondo Moore. That's what I said, because it's all about my feelings. His best season of any player across all scores. Problem is we don't know yet. Same thing. Yeah. I find no concern. The only real question I've got about my first tier is, one, the ranks mean nothing in that tier. I meant to like all three of them the same, and I don't. I like Jamar Chase the best. Like, draft hasn't happened, but if the draft happened today and someone was asking me what to do, like, my honest advice is go get Jamar Chase. Like, I love Bateman. I want Bateman on my team. But if you get one choice, just go get Jamar Chase. Like, we're arguing about Terence Marshall and Rashad Bateman and Seth Williams. But the honest answer is, in your league, if you have one league and one rookie draft, the answer is you should be trying your best to get Jamar Chase. Hopefully you don't have to pay a top 3 pick for him, because there's Kyle Pitts and Trevor Lawrence and there's Najee Harris, and the draft will probably push up a few running backs at least to compete. But I mean, the wide receiver answer this year, as last year, it was go up and get these 3 guys. Like, where's my... Oh, no, this isn't the same thing. I have to go to the receipts tab, idiot. Let's see, pre-draft 2019, pre-draft 2020, running back to wide receiver. Yeah, my first tier was Lamb, Rager, and Jefferson. I honestly liked all 3 of these guys about the same. And you see, there's one that was a bad decision, and there were 2 that worked out, and one that worked out really, really well. So, like, that was my answer last year. I got convinced that Judy was at just slightly above the average line, that he was good, but I put him in a tier with Mims because his production didn't need any squinting at, and Higgins because his production didn't need any squinting at either, but it was a little lower than Mims. And I like these guys, but the answer last year was go trade for anyone in this top tier. And again, that meant I like Jalen Rager. So, like, just before you're like, oh, this guy's got all the answers, I still do love Jalen Rager as a college prospect, at least. And that was a bad idea. Now, the difference for me in 2021 is that in my first tier, the answer is go get Jamar Chase. It's not go get someone in the first tier. It's go get specifically Jamar Chase. After the draft, I think Bateman's capital is going to fall a little bit, and he will be that guy for me too. And so will Rondo Moore. After I just want to know teams aren't going to ding him for not playing more than 1 year, with 6 games plus. I just want to know that. After the draft, I could definitely see them being in the same tier, but production wise, Bateman's there and Chase is there, but like, I have no question that Chase is going to get drafted well. Anyway, but yeah, that's the difference. Like, I still have 3 players in my first tier, but I like it. There's like a sub distinction here between Chase, Bateman, and Moore, and it's all around, is the NFL gonna let me have my fun? Will the NFL let me have nice things? That's the question with Bateman and Moore, and I really didn't have that question about Rager, who did get the draft capital, to be fair, or Justin Jefferson. I figured he was going to go, somewhere reasonably drafted. These 2 guys, I'm not sure. Anyway, the other question I have in my tier 1. So we've got 3 ranks in the book so far. It's Chase, Bateman, and Moore, and they're all the same tier. So I like them all the same, but Chase is different, even within the same tier. I really want to put Elijah Moore in my first tier, but I'm trying to learn and get better. And so I've had him in this tier 2 with Devonte Smith, and they're distinctly different from everyone else I like in this class. So Moore and Smith, like, I like both of them a lot, but I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to accept that other people have thoughts and feelings and processes that differ from mine, and yet they hit on players. And everyone hates that Moore's short and Devonte Smith is light, I guess. He has a low BMI. So I guess we're worried that they're going to, like, the wind is going to pick him up and like blow him off the field too often. That's so yeah, they're in my second tier. Outside of that, I think they are great prospects. Like, that's why they're here, just because very smart people that I disagree with think their height and BMIs matter, and I don't. But like, that's what I don't like about them, I guess. Yeah, that's why they're in the second tier, and I can't quite push them up because like serious heavy hitters always mention ceiling with Moore, and I'm like, but Landry, but Odell Beckham, but lots of top 5 wide receivers. So I don't know why I can't bring myself to push Moore up. Actually, there is one reason, but D. Mendy, sorry, what did you say? Peter, I give you a tip of the cap for strictly your presence. Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that. I try to have presence, and I feel like I'm succeeding in that. So I appreciate it, man. What's up, Connor? I don't know, but 2015 or whatever wants its same bag, I guess. Connor, no, it's nice to see you again, Connor. How you doing? What's my problem with Elijah Moore? I have liked way too many players, and this is why I'm a little trepid on Rashad Bateman too, that have really good profiles, but they're really good in a way that's kind of suspicious. Like you're almost too perfect. Like, you know, that person that broke up with you once and was like, you're almost too perfect. They were lying. I am not when I'm lying about Moore. It's a similar problem to Bateman. Like, I'm almost getting like PTSD from Tyler Johnson and Rashad Bateman and freaking Corey Davis and Elijah Moore. Like, too perfect is almost a bad thing. And that's honestly why a guy that I've got a little later is a little later. It's conference, but really the problem is here, that's just too perfect. Now, this is green every time it's above 20%, by the way, so it's not great formatting because this is my private copy of the database, so don't get too overwrought about it. But like, yeah, Elijah Moore, like he had like 9% of the receiving offense with who was else on there? It was AJ Brown and DK Metcalf, right? And that's the one team we're seeing some level of adjustment for talent actually work on. A little bit, kind of maybe, if you look at DK Metcalf in just the right way. Like, and no one wants to make an adjustment for Elijah Moore because he doesn't need it, which is good players typically don't need. Yeah, he's playing with AJ Brown. People tried to get excited about DeMarcus Lodge last year, and I was like, Elijah Moore was better in his first year. And that's still true because he just freaking dominated after that. And there's Treadwell where we didn't like him, by the way, just in case like these things stick out. I can't like Elijah Moore just because he's further over the line. That's what I keep telling myself because I've been hurt too many times. And N'Keal Harry, you know, I mean, maybe he was just productive, so far over the line of productive because of the team he was playing on, because of the competition he had. That he's over the line is the only signal I got to really trust. And Elijah Moore fits that. But, you know, then smart people keep telling me he can't possibly be Odell Beckham or Jarvis Landry or Brandon Cooks or any of those other players who've had top 5 seasons and been short, or Antonio Brown. And he is kind of tiny. I went and validated this one because some of my pro day stats are off. But what did he end up coming out to? Let me scan over here. 34, that's not correct. I did redo the calculation there. 178 and 96 inches tall. So that's 6 foot. That's 5'9", right? I mean, I'm not worried about it, but I get it. 5'9" is kind of hard to believe in, I guess. I mean, Marcus Brown, he wasn't nearly as productive, though. Oh, I love Michael Campanaro. Don't get me started on that. But T.Y. Hilton, he was 69 inches tall. Is, I assume, still to this day, 69 inches tall. Steve Smith. I mean, I get it. It's not a common member of the group, but they also don't commonly be drafted. That was a bad sentence, but you know what I mean? They kind of, like, if they're filtered through the college system, and the college system threw everything at Elijah Moore, and he was still really productive, and then the draft throws everything at him, and he still gets drafted in the first 3 rounds. Like, I think that's enough filtering for his height. Like, overall, that's enough filtering. How does Smith make up for the late breakout age stat? Well, I'll talk about him in a second. I really like Elijah Moore. I wanna push him up, like just one tier, but I won't, and I don't know why I won't. Why do I have to listen to other people? Can anyone tell me? But he's wide receiver 4 right now. I hate it. I guess we'll keep it there. Devonte Smith. All right. How does Devonte Smith make up for his first 2 years? I'll show you, because it's not about his breakout age. All right. Breakout age is a great indicator, but I like to dig in just a little bit further than that. This one, and actually look how they compared year to year. Something actually that I first saw on RotoViz. Damn, Moore is his last name. I am John Moore. Thank you, John Moore from RotoViz. It's the first person that I really read about looking at it through this lens. With Smith. There you go. So he was pointing out he doesn't hate players that play at an older age. He hates players that play below average at the ages that they played. So instead of like looking at breakout age, which is a 20% threshold in any year, the first year you get to 20%, which is not a random number. It's a number that most wide receivers pass, and therefore it's a fairly even measure across players, across teams, across conferences. And so it's actually a really low barometer, but it's still effective because a lot of bad players don't cross it and yet still show up with draft capital. And so it's still relevant. You can also go to the 30% line. But my starting point, while breakout age is in there and I look at it, I'm aware of it, my starting point is kind of looking at them the way this graph displays them across all of their stats. So, 18 and 19, Devonte Smith is below the average for players with at least, I think this is players with at least 150-point season. So not a ranks range, but they had at least 150 points in a season in their first 3 years. And you can see he's fairly below average for when they played at 18 and when they played at 19. But when you get to 20 and 21, you see the way it jacks up there. And that's what I'm talking about being above the line. This is my default position on players. It's, are you above or below the line? And I know that seems stupid because most players are going to be above this line at a certain point. But most players aren't going to be above that line before the age of 20. And some are, and that's one way to sort it. Another way to sort it is looking at this age 20 and 21 season and saying that's above the line in both seasons. And so that makes him interesting to me in the same way a breakout age might make some people interested in a player. Instead, it's the fact they did this. And then when I dig into his actual stats a little bit further, right, this is just market share receiving yards. So I go and look at his dominator, I go and look at his yards per team pass attempt this way first, and then I compare it across the team level and the conference level in the years that he was playing. And once I do all of that, Smith looks like he was exceptional. It took a little while to get there, but he got there, and when he did, he kind of just freaking did it. And it's okay that he took a little longer. Now, most of the time, this means I'm a little more concerned than some people, to be fair. Where's my little paintbrush here? Like, this is still concerning to me because most players do this between... Oh, that's way too much. Between 18 and 20 years old. Now, most people are making the excuse of, his teammates. And I don't. I'm yet to see a player not do this because of his teammates. A few times good NFL players have played in the same team. They just both did it. And the excuse this year is, what about 3 players during a global pandemic? And I get it. But if in every comparable situation, the adjustment wasn't necessary, the logic to me is therefore the adjustment isn't necessary. I mean, if some players in this class prove it to be necessary, great. But that'll be one, even if they all happen, 3 examples. And so, I just default to what's happened most often. So is Devonte Smith lucky he got to play 2 years after those great players left? Maybe. Or maybe what you do in college isn't just put up numbers. Maybe you learn something. Maybe you get better at playing wide receiver. And I think I'm capturing a little bit of that as well as just, I don't think they are who they are the minute they step onto the field. Like, I think you learn. I think you get better throughout your life. And I think that's specifically true when they're playing at this level. So Devonte Smith had some learning to do. That's okay. Now, most of the time that this applies, it's the Calvin Ridley rule, which is where he literally didn't play until he was 20 and he was above the line every year. So his graph looked a little different. And that's why I actually do still have some concern about Smith. Like, this is a problem. But where do I draw the line? How big of a problem is that? That's the question. For me, he's still in the second tier. That's where I draw the line. I think he's not as good as Elijah Moore because I don't have to wait to see Elijah Moore cross that line or those lines. The further I dig into the stats, he does. So he does it later than everyone else, and also, that's basically it for the players that are ranked above him. They all did something that I'm comparing them across. But Devonte Smith did it at a later age. That's why he falls to 5 for me. And he's actually more likely to get draft capital than Elijah Moore, Rondo Moore, and Bateman. So there's a world where he comes out as my second-ranked wide receiver by the time we get after the draft. And I'll be perfectly fine with that because draft means opportunity. And all of these guys did something I think seems to indicate they have something in common with hits in the NFL. But they all did it slightly earlier in their careers or at a slightly younger age with slightly less development. And I think that trends towards them having potentially an easier time of doing that again in the NFL. But draft capital also provide more opportunity. But for right now, he ranks below. So, yeah, that's how he makes up for it. He has something in common with the players I like the best in this class. He just did it at a slightly later age, and that's fine. I mean, it's all a case-by-case proposition. It's not like I wouldn't take Calvin Johnson over him. I wouldn't take Justin Jefferson over him. I wouldn't have taken Jalen Reagor under him. But in this class with these players, even though he did it at a later age, the only players I can really find that did it and were more impressive, those 4. And to me, that puts him in this second tier where there is a question mark around why it took him a little longer. And I don't buy into most of those team adjustment arguments. And Elijah Moore's in this tier because I still don't know why. It's just because other people are smarter than me and smarter people than me are telling me he has a lower ceiling. I don't buy it. But I mean, I'm stubborn, but I'm not to the point of being an idiot, right? I mean, give what's being offered, and what's being offered on Elijah Moore is just a slight tempering of expectations. So, anyway, I'm back on Moore again. And Michael, I hope that answered your question. I just kind of talked around it. Hey, Pete, weird day. Why would you push Moore up then? Because he did that thing we're talking about, being better than most players are in college across the average line, and he did it at age 18. Or are you talking about Elijah Moore? He did it at age 19. Devonte Smith waited until he was 20 and really 21 before he had an exceptional year. Elijah Moore had an exceptional year at age 19. Rondo Moore had an exceptional year compared to past players who have been good at age 18. Bateman had an exceptional year every year. So 18, 19, and 20. And Jamar Chase waited till 19, but he comes from a higher drafted conference, and some of his other stats, including yards per team pass attempt, or if you just want a quick way into it, yards per reception, are a different kind of animal than Devonte Smith's average. Now, in his last year, Devonte Smith was kind of putting up numbers in as an impressive a fashion as Chase was. But he was 21 when he was doing it, and I default to that graph or graphs like it. And then I bring that in as a second look, kind of thinking about ceiling and roll, but not in the same way everyone's like slot guy. I don't know that term means much, and I certainly don't think it limits ceiling the way others do. But I'm dropping Moore a tier and Smith a tier, mostly because of my fear of how long it took him to break out. I hope that explains that, Pete. Pete, let's go. Ed Roche, how you doing? Move him up. Who? Thank you. Thanks for the comment. And Connor, the Lions got to take a wide receiver, right? No idea. I don't spend a lot of time speculating on who's going to take who, because as far as it matters for me, I'm going to be told. Do the Lions have to take a wide receiver? Nope. No. I mean, they got a lot of needs. Wide receiver isn't necessarily where you start. And they definitely don't have to take a wide receiver in the first round. Second round wide receivers are freaking fire if you do it right, frankly. And there's plenty of other positions I know nothing about that I'm sure get a little harder to find once you get past the first round. So yeah, they don't have to. Do I want them to? Not really. I mean, I don't know what the Lions are right now. I don't know if they're good team, or team, bad team. And I really prefer wide receivers I like not to go to bad teams. And I'm not sure what the Lions are right now. Awesome explanation. Thank you. No problem, Michael. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not saying it's perfect or you have to follow it, but that's the way I think about this stuff. And I have fun. Pete, when I dive deep into on Smith like this, I always come back to Smith's performance on the field. That's fair. Late breakout age and low BMI signals get dialed down to the eye test, and that's a perfectly fine way of doing it. That's cool. If you got to the same place as me, a different way, then I think we were on the same page. We just enjoy different processes. That's fine. If you're telling me he should be higher, like, I agree. Again, like, I think he has more comparisons to Chase than Moore and Elijah, than either Moore does, for example. But based on what I think makes a player more or less likely to hit in the NFL, which is age-adjusted production, I'm a little more concerned of whether he hits his floor, should we say, than I am than Rondo Moore and Elijah Moore. And I'm also not as convinced that either of them have this low ceiling. Instead of moving Elijah Moore up, should I move Rondo Moore down a tier and just have a 2-player tier? Because that almost feels more right. I don't know. We'll see how that sits with me. So yeah, and again, like, just to be real clear here, Pete, I will never tell you to change your process for what mine is. At all, because frankly, get off my turf, man. This is my process. All right, don't steal my. It's because if you enjoy and have success learning about players through eye testing or watching film, why would I tell you no? Stop doing what you're enjoying and having success with. Do what I do. Like, if someone told me that, I wouldn't be listening. So why would I tell it you? You know. Yeah, Ed. Ed and I just supporting your desire to push Elijah Moore up to tier 1. You make a great argument that he deserves to be there. Great name, by the way. Elijah Moore is? Yes. Yeah. Pete's are just a tier above. Yeah. I so far I feel better actually dropping the Moores into tier 2 and Smith with him. Like, I think Smith. It might be fair to say Smith has more upside. Which is not a thing BMI Twitter will enjoy hear me saying. Then Rondo Moore, who has the BMI and the athleticism. I think it's a fairer criticism to say that they didn't play that role in college, whereas Devonte Smith definitely played that higher upside role in college. So far I'm feeling more comfortable here. The tiers don't matter so much, except for my sanity, I guess. All right. Who else we got? Connor again. How you doing, bud? Let's do rankings based on completely based on BMI. That should be good. No, but good joke. And again, no one ranks purely based on BMI. I think they let it weigh on their thoughts a little bit more than I do. That's it. It's just something that they, a little layering, which is fine. It's the same way I'm thinking about role. I don't ranking them by the role I think they'll have or that they had in college, but I'm letting it just sit on top of my opinion. I get it. Smith played more of a alpha, as if that's the thing. I think there are plenty of slot alphas, I guess would be the way I use their language to explain what I'm saying. But I get it. really think the best way of saying it is I think the college system, productive, unproductive, and drafted or not drafted, I guess, filter for size metrics and combine metrics more than enough. I think it does it effectively. I don't think it's doing it effectively for age-adjusted production, which is why there's still an edge there and why you get more signal and more unexpected players breaking out or existing in the hit group than not. When you look at breakout age or when you look at age-adjusted production or make a model about it, whereas BMI it hits at a slightly higher rate than you'd expect. It's not just a common group. It is hitting at a slightly higher rate, but it's like not as hard. And so I'd rather filter by the one than the other than have that less effective filter weed out potential talent, like T.Y. Hilton, for example. Even though they're less common in the group, once it's filtered by age and once it's filtered by the college system and then once it's filtered by the draft, I think BMI can get rid of a few players I don't want to get rid of. That's it. I like equaling the Moores in a tier. Yeah, it feels more accurate to what I'm saying, but it does not feel good not to put them, like instead of moving them to tier 1, just like, but that's unfair to Devonte Smith. I really think it's fair to say I like Chase and Bateman as much, but I want to see Bateman's draft. It's fair to say I like Moore, and Smith as much production-wise, with obviously different reasons for liking their production, but I want to see the draft. I think that's probably a better description of what I'm trying to say. I hate it, though. Obviously, I hate it. I hate it. All right. Sal, how you doing, buddy? Chase Bateman, I like her above Rondell as well due to lack of sustained success after their age 8. Yeah, that kind of thing. That's Rondo Moore's problem. I don't think Elijah Moore has that problem. Obviously, he blew up age 19 and 20. But he had a very normal, decent first year. That's Elijah Moore. And this is where the team adjustment zealots want to come out and say that's because he was playing with DK Metcalf and AJ Brown. Then are we going to boost Elijah Moore up? Can I put him in tier 1? No. I was just saying why you should boost up that other guy. All right, man. But Elijah Moore did it. He didn't. He doesn't need a boost. So you're good for your apparently situation-dependent logic. That team is the only team that has a player that would have looked better if we team and situation adjust or game adjusted and then was good in the NFL. But that's not the team we're going to do it for. It's that other team. Whatever. I'm getting bunged up here. I'm getting a little snot-nosed. You might be getting sick. That's fun. I made my first chart in Excel. Coming for your job. You take it, man. Just so you know, the benefits suck. The salary is 0, and you have to be okay getting owned a lot. But yeah, I will help you take my job. I'm really actually happy to hear. Did you enjoy it? Was it fun? Do you like seeing the end of the results? If not, like this tape and shit. But yeah, the more you make things, the easier it gets to make things in Excel. And I imagine the same is with R, but I can't yet code. Yes, we can. In fact, I've done stuff like that, like with my post-draft model and stuff. Let me get through my ranks, I guess. I want to at least get through this tier here. And yes. We can do a thought experiment of what I have to do with Waddle and Tony if they get first-round draft capital. See, there's this really weird thing. Someone asked me about Terence Marshall, who also hasn't come up yet, obviously. And I think I'm trying to boost him higher than his production, for me, suggests he should be. And, like, I still wouldn't take him over any of these guys if... Like, pre-draft ranks are almost... If everyone's drafted in the first round, what do I think? If they all have the same draft capital, this is what I think. How much does draft capital move? Make it move? It doesn't. It means I have to accept I could be wrong. That's a weird thing. Like, most of the players I'm really down, and this is like confirmation bias, but everyone I've had this strong of a feeling that guy is a miss if he has draft capital, like, has been correct. Like, I'm much better at spotting misses than finding hits, even. And it's annoying, but I mean, it's a weird ass superpower, but I guess it's what I've got. And if Tony and Smith and Waddle have first round draft capital, they look like misses. So the question comes across to me is, how high would you draft a miss? Because you have to, because you could be wrong, even though this is not really missed before. When a profile looks like Tony or Waddle and they hit, it's Tyreek Hill. It's Chase Claypool. It's players that fall a little bit in the draft. But then there's an interesting landing spot, an interesting buzz around the camp for Tyreek Hill that he was dynamic and he was going to learn to play wide receiver because he really hadn't done it before. Chase Claypool went a little higher in the draft, but he went to the Steelers. And so you're like, okay, maybe I'm missing something. And he's the most physically like Calvin Johnson. Literally, I have a Calvin Johnson index because we all like physical stuff, apparently. So, all right, I can see it. But it's not like it's not Henry Ruggs, and it's not Laquan Treadwell, and it's not that guy the team goes and pops the first round pick on, mostly 2 rounds of really that high. And that's what Chase and Waddle and Tony feel like to me. It's like, really, you're going to draft the guy who didn't do well in college because he might have done well in college, but he didn't. Like that, the first round pop is almost worse. Right? It's to the point that I came up with this story, which is just a story of maybe players who don't get to play enough in college to display it need a little extra time. You know, they got to learn a little bit more. They got to just a little bit more practice, and like getting second round draft capital is better because first round draft capital, like you really, and that's the problem with Jalen Reagor right now. You really get expected to do a lot early, and teams get real sour on it real quick. Like, I still think they'd be rolling Raquan Treadwell out there to try and take Adam Thielen's job like next year if he was a third round pick because they like their draft capital. So the question hits me a little funny. Like, I won't draft him. I'm just going to say, right, like as clear as I can, I will not draft them with a first round rookie pick, even if they're picked 101 in the NFL draft. But I will respect that. Like, obviously, I can be really wrong. Treadwell, Tyreek Hill, not Treadwell. I was right on that. Chase Claypool, Tyreek Hill, Michael Thomas is a good example. Terry McLaurin of players. I don't get it, but they were all easy to adjust for value. Like, I got a few of them on my team, but pretend all of them were drafted the 101. My response is going to be, well, there's clearly a chance that I'm wrong here. The NFL spends millions on this. Smart people that play the game I play disagree with me. So what I'm going to do is trade away the pick. Like, there's definitely a chance I'm wrong, so I want out. Because I don't want to do the thing I think is going to miss. So I want out. Like, I clearly want out. And that would be my actual, what I'm trying to do in my league. But if you're going to force me, that's what ranks are, thought experiments are. If they all get drafted in the first round and the guys I like don't, what happens? Terence Marshall becomes a top 5 wide receiver at that point. Yeah. But it's where you draw the line. Like, if Jamar Chase is a second round pick and Terence Marshall is a first round pick, I am taking Jamar Chase over Terence Marshall. That's not enough for me. Like, if Jamar Chase gets undrafted to the Jets and Terence Marshall is a first round pick, I'd rank Terence Marshall above Chase then. But I would also trade the pick. You see, there are so many variants to that thought experiment. But we can do it. Let me finish my ranks here. I got to get off and do that podcast. So at least want to get through these because I'm pretty certain these first 12. Second tier, Taylor Warren, Seth Williams, and Dimey Brown. I really can't separate those guys out for myself. I prefer Terrence Wallace to all three. everyone likes Dimey Brown as a sleeper, I guess, but I honestly prefer Seth Williams as a sleeper. Dimey Brown's got a better high note and athletic profile, I think, is the idea here. Seth Williams was more dominant, but might not beat him out in yards per team pass attempt. Terrence Williams has both. It's better than both of those players, but he's coming out after doing it for 4 years. And that is a bad thing. According to, again, people that are smarter than me, and like Terrence Wallace feels like my Denzel Mims. I don't see a problem, but and so I want to see where he's drafted before I could separate him out from those two guys, and so they get put in the same tier. To Terrus Atwell, who you probably know as Tutu Atwell, he's got really good numbers. I like him a lot. He's coming from Louisville. I don't expect he's going to get draft capital, so this is a player I expect to like more than most players in my third round of rookie drafts, and I just have him high just to point him out. Like, this guy was as productive as all these guys, by the way, and in fact, a lot more productive than Terence Marshall, who basically we can throw his production out. That's what I would say. He didn't play enough. Pardon me. That's honestly my opinion on Terence Marshall. He didn't play enough. Jalen Waddle didn't play enough for me to know statistically where to rank them. And so I default to that second component, which is smart people who do this and watch tape like Jalen Waddle, and smart people that do this like Terence Marshall. I can't find an honest-to-God film grinder. I can't find any of the people that I respect their opinion on the tape. Like, that's why I follow them. Not that I don't respect everyone's opinion, but like, I can't find anyone to be like, yeah, he's good, just based on watching him. You get that, right? Like, to me, his numbers look bad. The best thing I can say is he didn't play enough to know, so throw it out. But the people that disagree with me on Terence Marshall are the ones that do statistics. They're not the ones that watch tape. That's weird. That's weird for me. Like, I don't know what to do with that information, but so far, that's where I'm at. I have to talk to more tape grinders. Obviously, I've only talked to a few, but no one who like lives and breathes the tape the same way I prioritize statistical evaluation for my own opinions. I do, and that's fine. But no one I know that prioritizes film so far likes Terence Marshall very much. So I agree with the film grinders on this one so far. I mean, there's got to be some film grinders like prioritizes film, and they like Terence. I'm sure they're out there, but I so far haven't run across one. So instead, again, the argument for Terence Marshall is if we truncate his season or per game his season, or imagine what would have been based on the small sample of what was, he's good. And I'm like, I don't like doing that, so meh. I just don't know of a time that worked, and 7 games isn't enough. And the small sample he had before he got injured the year before isn't enough. They just didn't play enough for me really to know what to do with his numbers. So instead, I'm like, I tell you what I can do. I can go listen to the people who are good at and prioritize watching the tape, and they'll tell me he's good. And then I can say, well, he looks good on, and there's not enough numbers. But instead, those guys are saying, not really. And the guys in my corner, I guess, of my team are like, no, just per game it then. I'm like, I don't believe in that. Or just truncate the season, or just look at yards per reception, I guess. Or BMI, and I'm like, I don't do those things. I don't believe in those things. So he's here because smarter people than me like him, and I don't understand what they like about him. They've talked to me about it, and I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand it. Jalen Waddle, to be fair, I like Jalen Waddle more than Terence Marshall. I do. He has better high notes. Yards per team pass attempt. Who has the best yards per team pass attempt? The best ever. It's Jalen Waddle. But again, talking to people who watch, they're like, he's kind of multi-dimensional. He didn't play just wide receiver. He's a weapon, not a wide receiver. That's, again, I'm not tapifying here. I go ask a tape grinder, but that's the impression I've been left with so far with talking to people who watched him play. He's more of a weapon than a wide receiver, and that's fine. But that can be Cordero Patterson in the NFL. Good player, teams find use for him all the time, but it doesn't translate to fantasy much. So he might be a better NFL player than fantasy player, so I'm okay having him below Marshall by or literally right next to him. And the reason I have Terrus Atwell above them is because I think the draft will mean he will fall below them. And for right now, I just want people to know, like, I like Terrus Tutu Atwell like a lot. I like him in the third tier with Seth Williams and Dimey Brown. I expect I will not like him that much after the draft, and he didn't hit a 30% dominator. And also, I think since the combine, isn't he a little undersized? Yeah, I could probably drop him down to tier 4. But right now, I should drop him down to tier 4. But like, I like him just as much as Seth Williams and just as much as Taylor Wallace, and I'm only dropping him down. I will be dropping him down because I think that would mislead people to draft him too high. Like, I don't think you have to spend a second round pick on Tutu. I don't. And I don't think the draft is going to mean that we have to. So again, it's all that second part. I guess 4. Yeah, I'm moving down to 4 and rank 12. And that moves Marshall up, which will make someone happy, I guess, and then Waddle up, respectively. I don't want. Yeah, that's the thing I've done. I'm moving Atwell down because I don't want anyone to think I'm saying spend a second round pick on him, because you shouldn't have to do that. Yeah. That's fair. See, these players, Terran, Wallace, Williams, Brown, Marshall, and Waddle, are players I would debate between or who is left on the board with my second round pick. That's my tier 3. My tier 1 is a player I want to trade up to get. My tier 2 is players I'd be really excited to get with a first round pick. For this class, this is this class only, not every class. My tier 3 so far are players I would debate between in the second round, and I would so far prioritize them in this order. Fourth round pick are players I like in after the second round. That's what the fourth tier is. I don't know if that's clear, but that makes sense in my head. That was a great answer. Okay, appreciate you. I can agree with that logic. You have a better chance of spotting misses than hits. And that's also like something, I don't want to name drop, but I was talking to someone the other day who's far smarter and better than me. And like, he disagrees. And I was like, to be fair, something you're making me think of is some players fail not because of ability, and I can't account for that. So like, you're getting a lot of variance on your side if you don't like a player. Actually, Matt Kelly once on his podcast said years ago, if you want a good hit rate, just bet against every player. You would have the best hit rate if you just said no to all of them. And I think that's still true, because so few players hit that if you bet against every player and did that calculation, your hit rate will be better, technically. So I can't account for that, But yeah, it just... Thanks, Sal. It's a good question. I don't know what to do with that. I'm providing everyone a value, like Chase in the second and Marshall in the first. And where did Bateman go? Because I would have Bateman over him if he went in the second too. So I tried my best. That's such an interesting point about how people like Marshall analytically, but not film-wise. I had the same gut feeling when I'm watching. You see what I mean? Like, that's weird. Like, analytics guys like him more than film guys. That's weird. That's weird for me to be on the outs in that situation. Like, I think it's actually more true. Like, I think film is access to different information than I have. I feel less certain about disagreeing with a guy who primarily watches tape because I don't know what he knows, I don't know what he's telling me. I don't have a background in listening to what he can tell me, so I don't really know how to evaluate it. But when a numbers guy disagrees with me, I know why we disagree. I know why I disagree on the numbers with Terence Marshall. But here's the thing: the people saying it are actually better and smarter and been doing this longer. And I listen to their podcast for advice on what to do. So yeah, it's a really weird niche, but it kind of makes sense that it kind of makes sense at the same time, because there isn't a team film analytics and a team team film. That's not the dichotomy we're talking about here. I think there's much more. Like, if we're going to separate people into two different teams, it's not data and film, because honestly, I think most people who do it through data are more willing to go, that's interesting. I don't know what that means, but it's interesting that he runs good routes. I don't know what to do with that, but I can't account for it. But it's interesting. Like, that's probably the honest position we have to take if you're mostly familiar with statistics. But if a guy disagrees with you based on the numbers and you're on analytics, you can argue with that, because I know what I think of that, because I'm used to thinking. So we're more likely to argue with people who process it the same way. If I remember correctly, I believe that acronym means, because I use it a lot, Atwell came in at like 150. Okay, yeah, that's it's a little hard to believe, 155 pounds guy, but isn't that the other thing about weight? Like, can someone get that guy a sandwich? Is he going to be 155 pounds forever? I guess maybe, because you could argue that he's gotten into supreme physical shape for the combine, but do I have that? Atwell, yeah, I've got him at 155 pounds and 69 inches. BMI of 22. Even a 4.39 though, you know what I mean? Atwell has to get drafted in the first 3 rounds for me to have any interest before the 3rd round of a rookie draft. But I do like him as a long shot and that's why I've moved him down a tier. Again, just to be clear, like I think he was interesting. I think he's an interesting prospect. Again, like, I think there's a misrepresentation of Terrus Atwell out there, and it's someone I got. Like, if you go try and watch YouTube highlights, because I don't watch film, so I don't offer an opinion on their film, but sometimes I just want to watch some football. I want to see this guy I'm spending so long thinking about, like, catch a ball, not because I don't want it to influence me, I just want to see it. And I went and watched some Atwell film, and if you YouTube Atwell, all you see is jet sweeps. Jet sweep after jet sweep after jet sweep. And so I panicked, because his numbers are pretty good. And I was like, Zach, does Terrus Atwell do anything but jet sweeps? And then I asked Travis May, because he does both film analytics. I was like, does he do anything but jet sweeps? And Travis was like, yeah, like most of his catches are not jet sweeps, like a large majority. And I was like, because I was watching this highlight video, and Travis was like, yeah, I know. He'd had the same experience. It's a really distorting representation of what Atwell did in college. But again, he's 155 pounds and he's not going to get drafted in the first 3 rounds. I just kind of like his production. I also like Tanner Gentry's production. Just to throw in that out there, he's a guy I would want on a taxi squad or on a deep roster somewhere, because I like him as a deep shot. And again, that's why I've just moved him down into the 4th tier. With Isaiah McCoy, same thing. Exceptional producer at a lower conference, who I also think had a bad combine. Keelan, Stokes, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, 13 and 14 in my 4th tier. Those are the kind of profiles that can have a lot of, at least momentary upside in fantasy drafts, that I never end up with, because I don't see the height of Bateman and Chase in them. But they were definitely playing at a better conference level. I mean, I think they both, Stokes and Amon-Ra, both have age 18, 20% breakout ages. Like, that's really impressive. So what are they doing down here with Atwell and McCoy? Essentially, I think these 2 players are going to be 2nd-round considerations in rookie drafts, and those aren't the players I will want to spend a 2nd-round pick on. Right now, based on their production, again, these are the players I want to spend a 2nd-round pick on. And once I don't want to spend a 2nd-round pick on them, they just have to get out that tier. And then once I'm considering them next to Atwell and McCoy, like, I love Atwell and McCoy as deeper shots, because I do, man. I just do. Isaiah McCoy was phenomenally productive. Terrus Atwell has better domination in his situation. Truthfully, Keelan, Stokes, and Amon-Ra probably have better profiles. They do, because they were playing at a higher conference level. And if we did model that out, I think Keelan, Stokes, and Amon-Ra St. Brown were definitely more impressive in college. But I love my breakouts, and I love my dominating small school prospects who come out of nowhere. I can see me waiting until Amon-Ra and Keelan Stokes are off the board before making a pick, and just going, yeah, 4th round pick. There you go, buddies. Honestly, they should probably go down. Tamarian Terry even has the physical size that make him, probably a better pick in this range. Do I have to move Atwell? Like, can you let me have this? Or do I have to move them down too? Like, is this too high? Do you get too triggering? Like, Amon St. Brown is probably a legitimately better pick right now than Atwell and McCoy. But I can't love these two tiny guys. I love these two tiny guys, man. I just do. Tamarian Terry is not a tiny guy, and that's why he's in this tier. His production was okay. You have to work for a little bit, but it's there. Again, I got notes in there. Just if you want to hear more of a breakdown, I think I did a video on him too. But actually, his BMI is below the threshold. Throwing that out there, he's 207 pounds apparently. Did I get that right? And just over, what is that, 6'3"? 6'3". He's really tall, but that's a little too skinny. Did I get his weight wrong? Anyone know? Yeah, they are. Sorry, that sounds like I'm selling my Patreon. I don't mean to. It's just I want to keep track of these, and the only sheet that I'm maintaining is that made sense to put him in is this rank sheet I already have for Patreons. Pahowdy ranks. So I've got my Superflex ranks in there and my rookie. I'm still playing with the rookie board. My rank receipts and my other databases. Hang on. I can probably put a link to this in the chat. That seems. I don't think Patreons would be too mad. Like, they're a pretty chill group. I do try and give them things for, being the only reason I can afford groceries some weeks, because I appreciate that. But, they know who I am. They get it. I bet Marshall has a lot to do with his outlier size relative to this class. Yeah. I think that's partly it. I was listening to a podcast today with smarter people than me. And I don't mean that as like a throwaway line. Like, legitimately, they've been doing this professionally for years. I'm just an amateur. I get it. But they were basically saying that he fits the size profile. And I agree. But in my head, that translates to, if he was better, he would be a better prospect. But I just go back to that if. Like, if he's good, he's a good prospect. I'm like, but Elijah Moore's definitely a good prospect. He was definitely good. But he's small, though. But he was definitely good. Like, how do you weigh that? And for me, I'd rather bet on the player that was good in college than the player who would be good if he had shown himself to be good. Like, I don't mind going, okay, the player who was good in college didn't work out in the NFL. I don't like the idea of drafting the guy who wasn't good, but I thought would be really good because of his size if he was good. Like, that's not the way it weights in my head. Like, I get it, kind of, but it seems a little hinky to me. I think also partly I am generally less concerned with ceiling. You should be making ceiling bets, which is honestly why my answer is trade up for tier 1. That's what you should probably do. Go get Chase. That's probably the best answer. Go get the player, not the next one, or the one that's shrinking or falling down draft boards. That's like, sometimes that's the guy you want. I get it. Because when we look back, we're like, oh my God, Chase Claypool in the second round, but you don't know which guy that is. That's why he fell. So you're more likely to end up with And what happens to me is JJ Sega-Whiteside, Denzel Mims, KJ Hamler, like they look like falling values. I draft them lower and think I've got value, when instead I should have just gone and get my favorite guys, because my favorite guys hit at a higher rate. I know why I like them. I'm not letting lower profiles fall to me because everyone else is stupid. Like it would feel better to go get Jalen Reagor and miss than let Denzel Mims fall to me and have the same result. For some reason, like I'd rather just go get my favorite player. Like so I think the actual answer is go get Chase if you want a wide receiver, or Bateman. But I get the idea of capturing the guy that falls, but I think they're more likely to fall because they didn't get first round draft capital than because they're underappreciated in the community or whatnot. Where was I? I've completely lost track. Oh yeah, size. That's right. So yeah, I also think if the NFL is going to miss on a player, they're going to miss on a player betting on his size, because I think they weight that for the combine. You know, some players get taken earlier because they fit the size and weight. The NFL does a pretty decent job of adjusting for where the talent is, but I think there are so few players that really reach just one top 24 season. Actually, I have numbers. Hang on. Let me try and remember them. On average, there are 3 wide receivers in every class since 2000 that have at least 2 top 24 seasons. That's actually a reasonably low ceiling. That's, an example would be Jameson Crowder. How great do you feel about a Jameson Crowder level hit? Not great. I mean, it's good, but it's not great. But there are 3 of those in every class. That's it on average. So, like, every pick, reaching for upside based on size for every pick, it's like, that's fine, but there's probably only one of those guys here. And there's at least 3 guys who might be Jameson Crowder, and I'd rather have Jameson Crowder than constantly miss on players that look like they are more likely to miss because they're thick. And again, you do you, man. You should always be reaching for upside. But if I'm reaching for upside, it's not to take the thick player. It's to go get Chase. That's my upside move. Not to get the next best player because he has the right size. Like that seems. Yeah, I think I said it. I think that makes sense. You found him? Oh, okay, great. I appreciate that, Feverish. I was gonna say I should find a link for you. Wow, I'm shocked St. Brown right now because I've seen film grinders very high. Again, that's why I know, like, this is probably too low for Amon-Ra. You can probably expect more than, and I'll move him down in a second. I'll move Amon-Ra up because Amon-Ra has an age 18 break. I don't like the overall pattern of his production. I think he's not likely. That's a dangerous word there to hit in the NFL. I think DJ Chark, which means he should definitely be higher. Like these 2 guys are like they're like my favorite prospects to chase. I might find the Jameson Crowder. I might find the Cole Beasley, right? But you probably want to draft the guy who could be DJ Chark, have that one great season or that one great stretch of seasons, like or games, like any of the Green Bay Packers, actually, after Devontae Adams. Like these 2 guys, yeah, they're definitely more likely that. But I'm obsessed with searching for Beasley and Jameson Crowder, and I like my little guys who are much better than most players in the NFL. But everyone's kind of like, meh. I just like it. But hang on, let me fix this. Like, this is my preference, okay? It's on video. You're here. You can witness me. I like these 2 players who probably won't do anything, but I like these 2 players better. But, yeah, they probably have to fall. Yeah, that's fair. I've got Stokes above Amon-Ra, and I honestly don't know why. Because I have heard a lot of positive takes from the film about Amon-Ra. I've got so many spelling mistakes. I'm reading my own notes and trying to figure out if there was a great reason why No, I don't remember one at least. And I've heard more positive film takes. So let's do this. Let's make Amon-Ra 11. Is that? Yeah, 11, and then Stokes 12, I guess. And these guys are now 13, 14. It's a different tier. That's fine. All right, let's re-rank here. All right, that feel better. Marshall is 9, Waddle's 10, then it goes Amon-Ra, then it goes Keelan Stokes. And again, I'm probably just fading these guys. If I'm going to take a wide receiver this low, I'm like, I want to go chase my tiny guys with no draft capital. Like, I want to go chase that waiver wire. I want my Terrus Atwell off the waiver wire on my Isaiah McCoy. This is why I like undrafted free agents. Like, I would rather go get those guys. You know what I mean? Off the free, because they're so cheap. They're basically waiver wire fodder. And I do think they have potential to be a Jameson Crowder, a Cole Beasley, a freaking Tanner Gentry for about 3 games. But yeah, there is upside there. But yeah, what I was going to say. I like Darden more than them too, based on what I was just saying. So Stokes is. I'm going to push Jalen Darden up to 13 to keep him in that tier 4. And Tamarian Terry up to 14 to keep him in that tier. Which makes this 15. Oh, God, I hate the way that feels. I hate pushing those 2 little guys down. They've been pushed around enough. You know what I mean? So, yeah, now my tier 4 from 11 to 14. The tiers are getting wider. Amon St. Roy, Keelan Stokes, Jalen Darden. I haven't actually checked out his combine performance. But someone asked me to check him out live on stream once, and I kind of like what I saw as a deep flyer, and I don't think he has the size concerns that we were just talking about. And then Marion Terry, you have to squint at both their productions, but we'll just leave it right there for now, I guess. 13 and 14. Like, I kind of like them the same, depending on what happens in the draft. Tamarian Terry, no one confirmed for me what his weight was, but he's smaller than I expected. Where's Jalen Darden? I got to get out of here soon to do that podcast. Don't let me forget. I got to be somewhere at 10. Where's Darden? Darden! Get in here. Damn it, boy. 60. Okay, he's 6 foot 8 inches tall and 174 pounds. Okay, Darden was a little smaller than I expected. But so's Terry. Let me see. Why in my head am I like, no, Darden's definitely better than Terry? Because I liked her. First glance, when I looked at this class, I thought Tamarion, or Mr. Terry there, was actually pretty productive. Yeah, he got 31 and 35% dominator, but at an older age. That's probably why. Darden got 29% and 55. Last year he had a 55% dominator. Okay, that's not COVID related at all. But 29 at 20 years old versus 31 at 20 years old. All right. Cursor West versus North Texas. I don't have a strong reason, but in my head, I'm like, yeah, I like Darden more. Let me see if I can remember or find out why. He's like 0.18 above his conference and team average. Marion Terry, get back here. Terry was more significantly above. Why do I like Darden more? Did Stephanie Smalls say something about Darden? Because I have a strong bias towards making Stephanie Smalls happy. She's more fun than me. But no, kind of the same rank, to be honest. But Darden's a little more undersized, so I guess that's fair, especially since Terry was better. Even I have to go look at their graphs. That's probably what it is. I think Darden was further above the average at the ages he was playing than Terry was at the age he was playing. But yeah, 14 wide receivers in the books. 15, 16, because I'm not moving them down any further. I don't care. Then it gets to Nico Collins in this 5th tier, which is waiver wire fodder for me. I've heard a lot of good things about Nico Collins. He's more of a deep ball specialist from what I read in his profile. It probably might, to be fair, it might put him up in here in the Keelan Stokes Amon-Ra tier, in that he can have relevance in the NFL. It's a fairly rare skill set that they will find use for, especially if they take him in the draft at all. So that's more likely to get fantasy production that makes people interested. He could see a value shift. I do not think he looks like a player that produces a top 24 season or top 12. Like, I think Nico is a miss in that regard, but I think he's more likely to be a player that puts up some production that could increase his value or get some draft capital that increases his value. So, like, do I really have to rank players above players I prefer because of what I just said, value? Like, honest truth, like, I just stopped drafting wide receivers and I go get Atwell and McCoy off waivers. Like, I'm not drafting Nico anytime soon. Hey, Zach, how you doing? Michael, yeah, I have Terry at 207 pounds. Appreciate the confirmation. That's smaller than I was expecting. Am I crazy? I'm still team KJ Hamler as well, but ADP is almost undefeated in this area. If you're gonna have guys that have a minimal chance to produce, you might as well not pay for them. Yes, Zach, the English major here actually just said it better. Surprise, surprise. English major engineer. Weird. You know, weird. Any thoughts on Austin Watkins? No. What position does he play? I guess. I think you or someone else has asked me about Austin Watkins. I think I added him to form an opinion, and then I failed to. Oh, nope, don't have him. Oh, I do have him. I have him in my data. I don't have his date of birth, so I haven't added him in this update. Quick look. 38% of receiving yards in 2019, 25% in 2020. I don't like that dip, but it was 2020. And 38% of receiving yards is actually an impressive number no matter what age he was, unless he was 40. 38% of receiving yards is actually pretty good. Let me see. He's playing for UAB. Isn't that how you abbreviate Alabama Birmingham? UAB. Let's see. Yards per team pass attempt. 1.53 above team average. Like, that's a little weird. What's that? You're a full player's yards per team pass attempt above the conference average? 1.81 above the team average. I can't see his actual stats where he's only in this year by year tab. So some of these numbers aren't making sense to me. 3.25 yards per team pass attempt. That's a weird number. Really high number. But I can't see how many touches that's based off. 14 points per game. 200 points overall. Is this guy running the ball? No. 34% dominator. 30% of the team's touchdowns in 2019. It's a really interesting profile. I haven't been able to dig into it. That's on 57 touches. Alabama Birmingham needs to throw the damn ball a little bit more. You know what I mean? But it's a really interesting profile. I can't break it down right now without being able to see his age and make his graphs and stuff. But I think that 2019, before we get into the hell year that is 2020, What I can rough glance right here, Zach, is that was a pretty impressive year, no matter how old he was. Obviously, Cursor West not going to get any draft capital, yada yada yada. But the age 19 season is pretty interesting. Terrus 6'4", 210 at his pro day. Isn't that what we said? I have him at 207, so I guess I'll have to check that. But even 210s will. Yeah, I have him at 6'4", though. No, that's 72 to. I have him as 6'3". I guess I have to confirm his height metrics. He's still a little smaller than I was expecting. Based on basically Reggie Q saying thick a lot. I can't remember what he actually said. He has no date of birth. I'm pretty sure he has one. I just don't have it. Like anywhere. Okay. Well, let's test that theory. I think that's what happened. Someone asked me once and I looked it up in the Devi age table. Let's see if DLF can come through for us. Nope. No. They don't have him either. Do we know how old he is right now? That's normally a little easier to know. It really doesn't say how old he is. All right. Redshirt senior. All right. We're just looking for any age in any year, and then we can backtrack. Ooh, gotta go in a minute. Got combine metrics and no date of birth. That actually literally doesn't make sense because they write it down at the pro day, or the used to be combine. Like that's when we get it. He averaged a lot of things apparently. No, I don't think anyone knows. I don't think anyone knows how old he is right now, which is a little weird. How are you gonna have him now his birthplace, and not know how old he is? Like really? My guess he's older. That's the only reason to hide it a little. And this is intentional. It doesn't just accidentally not slip out. Like someone's left a form blank somewhere. Pardon me. Yeah, I'm imagining he's an older prospect. I guess the ceiling for that is 24, 25. Which would mean in 2019, he was 22, 23. Again, 38% of the team's receiving yards are still actually pretty impressive there. Any year over 22 is basically going to add another layer of unlikely to get draft capital. That's where I'm at on him. Where he doesn't even have a pic on his Instagram. I'm convinced he doesn't even know his own age. No, I think he knows it. I think when that happens, it's usually because you don't want anyone else to know it. I mean, players aren't dumb; neither are agents. And it's not that he's worried about his age-adjusted production because the NFL isn't interested in that. It's more draft history. Teams are going to want a younger player to get more years out of them is probably the logic. But the last time I saw anyone have their age this hidden was because they were like a 23, 24-year-old prospect, and they were just smart enough, not to make a big deal of it. Not to write it down anywhere, and then just kind of never mention it. Even in the Curse of West, a lot of that shit goes on too. Because they're less, those colleges track things a little worse. All right. Where were we? Terry, Atwell, McCoy. I really hate having them down there. I do. Oh, there's Tony. Nice. I guess we got to move him up. Again, like I said, I don't think there's anywhere I play him, but he's more likely to get draft capital, so on and so forth. Is there anything I can say about Tony's production which is positive? Some way compare him to these other players. Keep scrolling, kid. I mean, no, still can't find him. There you are. There you are. Good old Florida kid. Probably not from Florida, but they draft that team, that conference pretty well. Come on, the smart guys say Tony's good. You can't have him this low in your ranks. Maybe I can. Come on, it's easy to break out. It's too low of a threshold. That's what everyone says. 22% of receiving yards at age 22. That was his breakout. I mean, it's like 1% higher than the conference average for wide receiver ones playing more than 6 games. That's something. I don't. 22% of the team's touchdowns as well that same year. I mean, .4 is pretty something. Yards per team pass attempt, 2.4. I mean, it's something. It's about the average of a wide receiver in their best year if they don't do anything in the NFL. If I remember right. They do this to us. Why has everyone got to be a weapon? Okay, Tony's best yards per team pass attempt season is basically the average of most wide receivers. Tony's expected to be drafted. That's the only reason. That's the only reason I can see to like him. I mean, that's more upsetting than Waddle, to be honest. No, I'd take Nico Collins over him. I think the argument that Nico Collins' value could fluctuate is better than Tony's, even. Draft capital can affect both of those players a lot, to be fair. Terrus Atwell and McCoy, I fully expect to be waiver wire picks and undrafted free agents. So there's that. Oh, one of my dogs just died. Not really. They're just fighting. Move Nico up just for that variant, I guess. Tony's staying at 18. I just can't with this. I have almost no interest in anyone else here. They're just there because there were names to look at. Amari Rogers is getting some buzz, I guess. And She Smith, I've heard some noise, and Sage Surratt and Dwayne Eskridge. Like, these are players that are ranked because they're in my database, but like, there's nowhere I would honestly rank them. With that, yeah, I don't really know how to describe that to you. All right, I guess that's my wide receiver ranks. Locking him in sounds a little harsh. Like, what if I find information out? But I did say I would. Where are we at? Player tier, date of birth, date of ranking. Wow. And a notes section. Nice. Player tier, notes section. Why was there a problem? Oh, it's filtered? Okay. Here we go. Yeah. I gotta add in the ranks. Sorry, this is all boring sheet stuff. Got a little note section now. That's new. I've got to redo the formatting because it all looks horrible, but there we go. Yeah. There we go. Size 12. All right. Yeah, I think we're good here, bro. Pre-draft wide receiver ranks. I'll probably tilt over the fact I said that was finalized now later, but yeah, I'm tired and I got a podcast to go do, so I want to have a good drink and coffee and go see what happened to my dog upstairs. Anyone got any questions or objections? Like, is there anyone else that seems drastically outranked that you want to make an argument against, I guess, or ask me why? AMA, you know? No one. All right, good enough. All right, I'm going to continue to try and finish off my rookie ranks and my rookie profile videos and finally write an article or two for DynastyLeagueFootball.com about these rookies, but also about regular players. April ADP literally just dropped, and I've failed to record a podcast because I've been helping someone move the last 3 days. So I'm thinking, I don't know whether to talk about rookies or ADP for this week's Dynasty or last week's Dynasty Crossroads. But I'm going to get that done. And tonight I'm going to be on, whose podcast is it? Did I get my keys? Yeah. I think it's your podcast, though, right, bro? Tommy Moe at 2on1 FFB. Yeah. I'm on this podcast tonight in about 20-30 minutes or so. So I'm going to go do that and then presumably record my rookie videos and my own podcast at some point after that, I guess. But yeah, that's the plan. I guess next Monday when we live stream, I can finalize my other positional ranks. Because that will kind of be our last chance to do that before the draft weekends here. Right? Let's see. Yeah, next Monday is the 26th, and it will be the draft that very weekend. So next live stream, we've got to finalize our running back and tight end and quarterback. I even looked at quarterback a little bit, just so you know. I've been twiddling with these ranks. Like I put Zach Wilson in there finally, and I made a note about him. I don't like tight ends, and I don't like quarterbacks. Don't like tight ends either. But yeah. I added a couple things here, thoughts that I've had about the players. And also, I've been pushing out videos of them as well as I do it, but I've been looking into the running backs I have not yet looked at. I've got to look at Javian Hawkins. Who else is it? Keelan Hill, Elijah Mitchell, Chris Evans is a player I definitely want to check out because I haven't yet, and someone asked me a question about him, so we'll move him up the list. Jalen Darden, I want to make a video on. Austin Watkins is on the list, by the way, Zach. Drain Eskridge. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make a video about Dwayne Eskridge or Daz Newsome. I just don't feel the compulsion. Mario Rogers, nope. Or Anthony Swartz. We're just not going to talk about them. There we go. We cut a few players off the list here. I've looked at them. I don't think I'm planning to make YouTube videos about them. I haven't looked at these guys yet either, and I don't know I will. But yeah, it's kind of a dual purpose list there. Anyway, thanks for checking it out. Really appreciated it. Really appreciate the back and forth and the conversation. That was fun. You can donate to me on Patreon. No, forget it. Don't bother. But please check out live stream next week because that makes this more fun if you're here to disagree, argue, or offer opinions or ask questions. And I really do appreciate it. And again, not to push them, but I'm trying to make videos on prospects. So if you want to hear me talk any more in depth about any of the wide receivers I just did, hopefully there's a wide receiver video with my face on it. And I've got that in a playlist. Again, follow me. Check me out on YouTube, and you'll probably find a video about a rookie on there somewhere, I'm sure. So yeah, appreciate it a lot because... Again, like I said, it's more fun to talk to people while you try and do this and not. And I will see you again next Monday. Again, every Monday I do a live stream, at least every Monday. In fact, after the draft, I'm thinking I might do a daily live stream, playing with this idea of building a projection model on stream with people, like following in the footsteps of Tanho, who's teaching people how to use R. Instead, I'll teach you how to use Excel, I guess, which is a lot less of a lofty goal. I get it. But I thought it might be fun. I might get my head into projections again because I've been staying away and I need to work on my own projections model and get those done. And I thought talking about it with, again, people on stream might make it fun again and more interesting. So, I don't know. Let me know. And where am I? Yeah, I guess I'll see you next week. Appreciate it a lot. And I've got to find a way of starting and ending streams and videos. just not very good at it, you know. Thanks.